G'day friends, welcome to today's YouTube video. My name is James. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. Today, I have all of this. This is Collage Club. This is actually some of the originals. I am going to do a little bit of a video kind of talking about Collage Club, checking back in, just saying hello. I want to talk about the sheets that I've got for May, the set that I just did, and I've never done one of these kind of like what's in May Collage Club, so I thought it might be fun to do that. Also, since we've just had our first rotation, it was probably a good idea to check back in and just make sure everyone knew what was going on. So here's the video. Get excited for that if that's what you're here for. If not, I'm not going to be doing any arts and crafts, like just straight up. So if you're not here for that, go and find yourself a video that will be more enjoyable. And if you are here for this, let's just have a chat. So whatever you need to do to feel comfortable in this chat. Alright, this is some of my original work. I'll show you some of this first. This is what I did for May. This was my full page kind of collage. It was a bit of a like trip to Japan. I grabbed all of my old little bits and pieces from my last trip to Japan and kind of used some of that. Lots of things that I had just laying about that kind of fit the theme, and little magazine cutouts, just a lot of collage. This was actually really fun to do. It took me a bunch of hours to put together and layer properly, and then I did lots of drawing to kind of blend it all together. I did scan a version of this without all the doodling over the top of it. But I actually liked all the doodling over the top of it, so I ended up using that one. This happens a lot, actually, and you'll see in these originals, there are steps a part of some of these processes. Some of the stuff that I put in Collage Club is literally just from my sketchbook, and I just did it once, and I scanned it, and I put it in there. Other things I have planned out, and they've been through multiple stages, so I thought it would be interesting to kind of show you the difference. This one I just put together. It's on a piece of watercolor cardstock, so I will keep it nice and safe and sturdy. Here is, these are the little originals for the little stationery girls. These were inspired by Rune Naito, who is a Japanese illustrator, was a Japanese illustrator. He's sadly passed, but he is kind of credited for lots of the kawaii culture in Japan. Everything in this set kind of, I was going for inspiration as far as like vintage or like retro Japanese kawaii, or my love of stationery and art supplies, because those kind of go hand in hand, since I do regard Japan as having kind of, it's like the mecca of stationery, right? So those influences were kind of intertwined, and that is how I came up with this stuff. But this is the beautiful set of originals. I did them much larger than I needed to. They're actually all on one US letter size page, but I wanted them larger because the texture of watercolor shows up better when you paint larger, and then when you shrink it down, you still retain a lot of that. If I actually painted it smaller, it's harder to get a lot of these watercolor textures to show up in smaller spaces. So that is a reason that I do it larger as well. Also, I'm not the neatest painter. If you look at a lot of my art journaling work, it's usually just a lot of kind of like wild painting. And for a lot of the Collage Club stuff, I like it to have really neat borders. So I do have to be a bit neater if I want it to be, you know, clean and crisp, and especially if there's a set of images like this, to have some kind of continuity, make sure they all fit on the page. I do tend to approach the process a little differently. But these were originally also, so inspired by this little study I did of one of the Naito girls, and then I did a full page of them. I actually made some templates on, what is it called? Procreate on my iPad. I made some templates of different poses and like flipped versions. There are actually only two. There's this one here that's the same pose. All four of these are the same pose. And then this is like one leg out and hands on hips, and then I flipped it. So it just looks like she's got her other leg out, but it's actually just a flipped version. So there's really only two drawings, two templates for this, but I created 8 characters out of them, and this was so I could put their little costumes over the top. I did end up doing this sketch for all the costumes that I wanted, and then I ended up scanning those, putting them into my computer, and then printing them really, really lightly onto this thin watercolor paper. This is a Fabriano. I got it from Art Snacks. It's this one. This is the 1264 Fabriano mixed media multi-technique. It's 110 pound, like 160 GSM. It's only 7x10. I actually had to reformat my printer settings to be able to print on it. And because my printer has, you know, it's it's not a pigment ink, it's just a dye-based ink. It will bleed, so I printed it in a really light pink. It was barely visible, like I had to paint it in the daylight because I could barely see it. And yeah, so I would draw over the top. Did I draw over? I think I did. Yeah, I drew over the top of it again in lead pencil, and then I painted it. And that's how I got this. The paints I used are new to me, and they're the most beautiful set of vintage colors. I got these gifted to me by a beautiful friend. The brand is called Hungry for Paint. If I can find the shop, I'll leave it in the description below. But I only used this set. I think maybe I used the smaller set too. This one as well. For some of these deeper skin tones. It makes the most beautiful deep skin tones. I usually have trouble getting deep skin tones in watercolor to retain their kind of vibrancy. A lot of them, the browns look really great when they're wet, but then when they dry down, a lot of the richness of the color kind of fades away and it becomes a lot more dull, which is fine. It actually works better for cool tone, deep dark skin tones, but for this medium brown skin tone here, it was just absolutely stunning. So I'm going to leave a link for this watercolor set. I'm not sponsored. They were a gift to me, but I obviously wouldn't tell you about things if I didn't absolutely love them. And I think that it speaks for itself, right? I mean, it's a beautiful color palette and it just really worked well. So that is what I did. I also went around the edge with I got this from Art Snacks too. It's a Winsor & Newton 01 in sepia, just like a fine liner pen. And this was really nice. It actually gave everything a really nice soft edge, because if I did black, it would have been really stark, but the brown was a really nice way to clean up all of the line work. And yeah. So anyway, I really loved it. Again, inspired by Runen Naito, the kind of inventor of kawaii, if you want to call it that. But this is, I'm just going to explain them just in case you missed it, but they are inspired by stationery or art supplies. This is the paintbrush and the little paint tube. This was just a regular pencil, a lead pencil. This is paper. So you've got the little scroll down here, and these are different toned papers. This is washi tape. She's a little washi gal. You can see a washi around her neck, washi under her skirt, washi up in her headband. Scissors. These were based off my Tim Holtz mini snips. The red handle is just so iconic to me, although I don't know if they do red anymore. I think they only do black. This one is a little obscure. This was a pencil sharpener, so she's actually got the sharpener blades in her hair. You can see the top has a bit of an opening, and the skirt is a pencil shaving. Even the little shoes down here are supposed to be like the little opening for the pencils, and her socks are supposed to be a pencil going in there. It's not supposed to be super obvious. I wanted to keep them really minimalistic so I could let the watercolor texture really show, but I just wanted to explain them just in case you missed some of those details. But this skirt is a little shaving of a pencil. So that was curious, I thought. This is fountain pen. Her hat is an ink pot. I love her freckles. And this was a ballpoint pen. The legs, this one's a little obscure too. The legs are based off of the Uniball Signo pen cap. And then the little ballpoint shoe kind of, it's not even a shoe, it's like a half sock, I guess. And then the ball sleeves for a ballpoint pen. And then this, it just looks like a pen has been looped around up there. Even her little strands here that connect up to the headband are supposed to be like pen lines. So those were the supplies I used as inspiration for those, and that is my whole set of Runen Naito inspired kawaii art supply gals. Here is the numbers for this month. Now this one was really tricky. How do I even explain this? Okay, so I did, first of all I had a few sketches that I had done in a book. Where are they, I wonder? I have done a few of these sketches in, let me get it, because I am here to talk, so why not just talk? Oh, goodness. I know what the book is, just I will not be able to find it. Anyway, I had a sketchbook. Oh, it might be this one. Everything's hiding under everything else. Oh, here. So I did some illustrations inspired by Yoshitomo Nara, who is someone I was doing a lot of studies. I'm gonna have to say Nara because my accent is just so bad for Japanese today. I did some Nara studies last month, even on Art Snacks, I did a whole study page for that video, and then I was blending the styles of Nara together with some of the style features that I like in my own work, and came up with these kind of hybrid, you know, if Nara met JLB creative style. And I used these as the templates for all of these letters. So much like how I scanned the stationary girls and made templates, I scanned these and made templates as well. So I had 3 girls, and then I made an entire set of numbers out of them. If you look really closely, you can see the printout underneath. These are originals. I print them very, very lightly in a color. This is kind of like a light red. And then I put numbers on them as well, because I wanted to make my whole set of 31 numbers. Every month I usually do either numbers or days of the week. I've yet to do days, months of the year, but I think that's coming up soon. I haven't really planned them out, but I will get the urge to do that soon. So anyway, I do 31 numbers, even though it's not a 31 day month per se. Like some months only have, you know, 30 days or 28 or whatever, but just so that you can use them on any month, because they're not specifically dated to May, they're just a set of 31 numbers. And I put the numbers there so that I could work them in, and they're all different sizes. Here come the police. The journal police are gonna get me. Actually, no, I think there's an ambulance. I hope they're okay. Okay, so I used the templates, printed them out, used a really, really fine pen, which I think was honestly a bit of a mistake, because by the time I'd scanned it and used it again, the pen lines were so insignificantly small. But I used the Uni Jetstream Edge to draw, and I freehanded over the template all of these different designs, and they were all within the same realm. So like they all had these little bows, these little bow features, these little hair, kind of scallop hair features, which is something that I used to do with my Daisy character from Inktober those years ago. And then, yeah, lots of little dresses, and they were holding their numbers. Or they had to be somehow attached to their number, or like their legs had to slide through the number, or yeah, I wanted them to be very interactive with their numbers. This took an absolutely shocking amount of time, especially for the result. I love the result, but it's one of those things that by the time you've spent so many hours on it, you're like, wow, did I really spend days to do that? Yes, I absolutely did. So I'm going to get my use out of it. This was my first attempt at how I thought I would color them. I was going to enlarge them and do lots of texture coloring, and it just looked so stupid. I mean, stupid's probably the wrong word. It was too busy, and the colors were too muddy, and I just didn't like it. So I went for a bit more of a simplistic approach. I chose a color palette that was very kind of odd. It was like a little retro. I've also been doing lots of Mary Blair studies, so that's where that kind of creeped in. I was on a bit of a Mary Blair, like olive gold, you know, like rich orangey yellows, purples, minty greens, like just weird colors that I would never use, especially together. And then inspired by Nara as well, with his red lettering, one of those characteristics of his style, I did all of my numbers in red. And you can see once they were shrunk down, they became a lot smaller. So there's number 29 there. I think it's actually even a little bit smaller in the final version for the cut lines. So we'll see all the actual finished images in a second. The last one I have to show you is this is like a little, I don't know what I would say, they're like kind of building blocks. I like to give some of these things that are a little bit nondescript so that they can either add to a certain part of your page, or you can make something from them. So there were 6 of these heads and then 3 of these little totem poles. They were also based off of the same template that these Nara numbers were based off of as well. So they kind of run in theme, but I did all of these with a set of supplies to give them different texture, and just so that I could open up my, you know, my possibilities. I actually used this. Did I use anything else? Oh, a white pen. Oh, and I used this number 3, I think. Okay, so I used a number 3 Unipin fine line for all that really dark, solid black. For any of this like watercolory gray, that's my little ink brush here. I used the white to kind of pop out any of the white details that I accidentally went over. And then I used my mechanical pencil because that gives me a really fine detail shading, and these are kind of small to be working a lot of detail in, but I could do all my gradients and blends with that. But also I would use this and smudge it out with my little tortillon and then erase some parts of like these teeth up here to give that really fun kind of like really soft ombre with negative space kind of an effect. Oh, just dropped my thing. Did I just ruin that? Thank goodness it's the original and I can erase it. It's fine. It's photocopied. I actually store a lot of these just in a folder, all of my original stuff, just in case I want to do something with them, you know, again one day. But that is it for what I actually created, you know, drawing wise. If you see the sheets though, and maybe I'll just go to it so I can talk about it. I'll go back through these in a second. This is my folder that I keep all of my Collage Club stuff in. I'll mention something in a second about how I do that. Let me just check that I'm in frame. Yeah, I'm good. Okay, so here is the 5th sheet. Every month there's 5 sheets. I say at least, just in case I want to do bonus stuff, but there should always be a minimum of 5 sheets. I would just say expect 5, and anything else that happens eventually at some point is just a bonus. But it's just 5. So, just 5. I mean, it's a lot, but also, I'm going to say this, don't print everything out all at once and like expect to use everything, because we'll go through this whole thing. You'll see how much I actually get used. I will say I do use a lot more of it now that I print them on sticker paper and use my Silhouette to cut them, but yeah, and we'll talk about that. But you don't have to print everything out and use everything right away. Like, you've got years to be working on your journals and finding, you know, the right moment to print out your art supply appreciation photos. Anyway, so that's what I did here. I took pictures of my art supplies in all these various little formations, just because, I mean, I love them. I love looking at all of them. They're all displayed here. They just look so pretty. They really, having them displayed well makes me really want to use them, and I tend to notice that, like, even their little groupings, I will grab a whole set of the little groupings and use them. That is more, I think, kind of down to the fact that I did a pottery course last year and this year, and I was making my own handmade pottery, and so I have a lot of these little vessels that I made specifically for my art supplies. So now they're stored in all these beautiful little handmade ceramics, and I just love them. So anyway, I wanted to take a lot of photos of all of the supplies just because that is something that brightens up my day. I think a lot of us have a bit of a passion for art supplies. I made them squares so that they would fit well in lots of, like, if you wanted to do borders, or if you wanted to just put them in the corners of your page, if you wanted to stack them in little building blocks. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people either plan vertically or horizontally in kind of rectangular sections, so the squares are a nice way to fill that out. In any way you want to use them, obviously I just wanted to keep it uniform and wanted to get a lot in there. So I think there's 35, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, 35 if my math's correct. And yeah, I thought they were really fun. I just really love them. So I hope you love them too. Anyway, let's talk about this folder. I got this from Daiso. It's just a 1/2 inch folder, or it's a 1 inch folder, I think. And it's a 3-ring binder. I use my Boss Stitch hole punch to punch those and keep them all together. And these are pretty much in chronological order. I print all of these are actually just washi tape samples. This is photo sticker paper. No, I wouldn't even say that. This is actually label sticker paper. There is a difference. I used to use the Chiltern Wove matte adhesive photo sticker paper. It was listed in my Amazon storefront. A lot of the stuff that I use is listed in my Amazon storefront, even including my printer and stuff like that. So if you're ever looking for that stuff, it's always in the description in the Amazon storefront. How many more times can I say that? If you can, I would always suggest buying higher quality, like the Chiltern Wove, but they just don't make it anymore, or the suppliers that I bought from just don't sell it or stock it anymore, because there is a difference. This will absolutely get you through. I actually still think it's pretty good. It's just, I know that the other paper works like a dream in my printer. It is like, I mean, such sharp focus. I can print such fine details. And the printer I have is a Canon Pixma MX922. They're kind of an old model, but really reliable, really fantastic printer. I've loved them for years. But these they don't have as sharp a quality. And this paper is from onlinelabels.com, and this is the white matte sticker paper, like just the general white matte label paper in US letter size. I also use, if you can see, I have Kiss Cut. Sometimes some are easier to peel than others, there you go. These are all Kiss Cut, like little stickers. I print mine out through my Silhouette. I have a Silhouette Portrait 3. They are one of the newer ones that I don't see too many reviews about. It's a really small model, and you can actually cut matteless. You don't need a mat. So I thread these in. You might even be able to see some have like these little like tire track marks on the side. I thread this US letter paper straight in after it's printed through the software, because it puts these registration marks on. I put it in and load it, and I don't need any mat, which I hate using the mat for the cutting machines, so this was a dream. Not only that, but it's an auto blade, so I don't even have to fiddle with any of the settings. You just choose white sticker paper, matte, and it automatically cuts the whole thing out. And that's why I supply the cut files, just in case you have a different brand. If you do have a Silhouette, I do supply the cut files and like the print and cut file for Silhouette. Any that I make for myself, just because I already have them, I just upload them to the course. It's not something that to the subscription. It's not something that I promise, like it's not something that I think you should look to have your expectation as set as guaranteed. If to put that the nicest way. But if I do it for myself, I will of course put that in there for you guys too. Some of them are just tests, so I don't put the tests in. Like I've done an alphabet test before, I didn't put that in. But for all of these, like our actual sheets, yeah, if I do them for me, I put them in there for you too. At the moment, they're zipped because Teachable's doing some security with their uploading their file types. But we found a workaround, so they're zipped files. But the Silhouette files are in there, or I just put in the regular PNG cut files. So if you have another cutting system and you can upload your own custom cut files, they do have those. I have those in there as well. I make it's just a red line outline, the same as this. So I'll upload that for you guys as well. Those are my numbers, my little Nara numbers. I typically use these for my planner. Let me find you a page that doesn't have anything you can't see on it. Oh yeah, I've got lots here. Sorry, I don't want to show anything that will spoil absolutely everything that I've got planned. This is old, I think. Yeah. Okay, so here I have one of my numbers. That's a number from January, and then the days of the week that I had from, I think that was 2 months ago? Yeah, maybe March, maybe? Anyway, so that's what I use. I put all my other stickers in there as well. I call these stickers, but, you know, elements, I guess. Collage Club elements. These are the stationery gals. I love them all together. They all fit to this page. Don't forget that this is sized to fit through the cutting machine. So if, how do I say this? If you are not using the Silhouette files, you can actually print these larger, and you can work on the quality of the image as well. I think that's something I wanted to say. And you know, I've got a good example of it here. That's what I wanted to mention. Printing through Silhouette is not the same as printing through like Photoshop or Preview. You know, your printer settings are kind of manual to a degree. You can shift and change the settings, but because Silhouette wants you to print very specifically the way they need you to print to be able to cut out with the registration lines and stuff, they don't let you change too much, and some of the calibration with my printer and my Silhouette file, I just don't think it's totally upgraded. Like this is the full page that I can print from when I open my PDF just on my printer, print it regularly, and this is what I get from Silhouette. I did size it down, but can you see the difference in color? The color is much more vibrant and saturated on here than it is on here. That is also a note about different paper types as well, and even different printer types. If you go take your PDFs to the local Officeworks or Staples and you print them laser, not only will they be waterproof, but they'll probably also have a different color value to them as well. If you print them on photo paper, so like glossy photo paper, or even if you print them on a regular matte photo paper, the color vibrancy will probably pop even more. Different paper types are also different levels of brightness as well. So this is a pretty stark white, but there are whiter and brighter papers out there. And the brighter the even more the color will appear lighter and brighter. Because at the end of the day, with most home printers, you've got, you know, 4 inks. You've got a cyan, a magenta, a yellow, and a black. Or you might have a photo black in there as well. There's a document black and a photo black sometimes, but mostly just 4 colors. So you're at the mercy of whatever those 4 colors can do. The only way to really get more out of your print quality is to either change the settings in the printer box, like to say, you know, print at a high quality, like photo quality, print super fine, print, you know, boost colors and stuff like that. And what that's going to tell the printer is, you know, put more dots of ink in this area. If you want to print faster, they generally spread the ink out. It's not so saturated. This is like a really quick printer 101. But I've seen some people also like print on glossy photo paper and then photocopy it as well. That's something I saw people do a few years ago. I'm not sure if people are still doing that anymore. I'm not quite sure what the theory is there. I do know that if you print it on glossy photo paper, you will get more saturation in those colors because the gloss is going to do a better job with how the light you know, bounces back those colors. And so I mean, anything, if you've ever seen a painting that's not been varnished and you put the varnish over the top of it, the colors really pop and are a lot more saturated. And that has to do with light. It doesn't so much have to do with what the ink is doing. The magenta in your printer will be no more bright than the magenta in your printer is. It will just look different types of brightness depending on what you print it on. If you print that magenta on craft cardstock, it's going to look a bit more dull than if you print it on glossy white photo paper. That's going to look really vibrant. But then I think people were photocopying the or scanning or photocopying the glossy photo paper to reprint it out. At that point, what's happening is your printer is doing the information gathering on what those colors are, and it's just spitting back out whatever it's seeing, you know, from the scanner bed, which, you know, is a really good source of light. But at the same time, like, for instance, if you're doing something with something fluorescent, like a pink, here's a good example of that actually. Printers and scanners don't really ever pick up this pink, nor is it something my printer could actually print anyway. So I tend to make those fluorescents either a lighter pink, or I try and make them as magenta as possible. For this, I felt like it worked really well to keep it light. But yeah, your printer, I've actually changed some of the color profiles in this. I changed the yellows, so don't mind that. Just giving away all my secrets here. But your printer, when that light hits it, it has to translate the information to what it knows it can print. So it's going to tell the printer, like, we can't print that color, nor is the light really going to pick it up sometimes, because the processing information, like how the information is processed inside the printer, can only give those values to what it knows it can print. And even see sometimes, like this, I don't even really think this shows up. So it gives the printer will give it its best guess. And its best guess for what it can replicate, and then you will end up with something, you know, more close to what it can do. You can change that stuff on Photoshop, you can try and make it bolder and brighter and stuff, and people do, but as far as like printing it on glossy photo paper and then photocopying it, I don't believe there's any reason to do that if you just set your printer settings on your computer as, you know, as fine and as high quality as they can go. Because it's the same printer, it's the same ink tanks, it's going to do the best job it can do there. Even with photocopying, there's a slight reduction in quality because, you know, it's an image of an image. When it's coming from your computer, it's all the pixel information is being sent over dot by dot, rather than what it's seeing from the scanner bed. So just something I wanted to mention about print quality, because you know, it is something that I think is a big factor in people doing Collage Club type stuff. You know, you want to get the best out of it, you want to get the most quality out of it, and sometimes it might be a little confusing to even know why, you know, some people's stuff looks different, why some people's looks more vibrant, why mine might look more vibrant. Also, don't be fooled by Instagram filters. A lot of the time we will always edit photos and pump up colors just because it's more attractive. That is also not realistic for a lot of what happens in real life, and I think you would know that just by using your supplies. You know, sometimes it doesn't just look as crazy as it does in the Instagram photo. But for something like this, I will point out what I changed. I changed the color profile because I wanted the yellows to stand out less. So I made them a bit more dull, and I also turned them to more the orange spectrum over here. Can you see how that yellow is bright yellow here? I turned it more orange. The teals I made more green, sorry, the blues I made more teal, so you see down here. And those are personal choices that I make. You can see the difference in orange, yellow to orange over here. Those are differences and kind of changes that I make personally. I see some of that editing as much, as a part of the creative process as doing the drawings themselves. And because it harmonized the colors better, this looked a whole lot more homogeneous, I guess, maybe might be the word, than this did. This had pockets of like bright things popping out different places. So I actually liked the way it looked kind of more merged and more flattened with this color palette. Yeah, so that is a decision I make too. And I think I said this already, online labels, matte white label paper, US letter size, Silhouette Studio. I printed out from there, cut it with my silhouette, get kiss cut, so these become little stickers. That way I don't have to fuss with glue, which is amazing for me because I hate the glue, and I don't mind fussy cutting, but I really hate the glue. And then this is the 5 sheets for May. We have rotated out January. January is no longer available in the subscription. This is a little test I did with alphabets, which actually kind of worked. I was very surprised. I'm going to see, though, if this is something I want to do in the future, so don't hold your breath. Anyway, I will say when I want to take stuff out... Oh, I should do it this way. I usually take the sheet out because it's easier to peel it back this way than to get it from when it's just stuck in the folder. But I like having it in the folder because it's chronological and they're all in one place. They don't get lost. But these are from different months. This was last month. You can see I've used all of these. I'm much more likely to use these as sticker sheets than to fussy cut them and put them in a folder. I swear I will just forget about the folder and never use it again, especially if I have to glue every single 5 seconds. So it is insane to me how much more of these I use, more of the sheets, when everything is on sticker paper. But also don't get me fooled. I am too precious to use this, and it's so dumb. I have the file, I have the originals, I could reprint this as many times as I want. But I swear every time I went to go and peel it, they just look so cute all next to each other. I would say, no, I'll wait until I know what I want to do with that. It's so dumb, honestly. I can't even get over the fact that I keep doing that. Oh, I used all my rabbits. I do keep this. This is all still really good sticker paper. I actually keep this sticker paper just in case I'm doing a spread and I have like a little space, especially for something like this. Like if I wanted to do some journaling on here, I would cut out some of these white shapes and then I would stick them on and do my journaling in these little sections. It's a way to kind of bring back some of the whites of your paper. So I just keep all of these. They may look finished, but to me, they're still valuable, I think. Eventually I'll chuck them out, but yeah, there's still a lot to use. This was a misprint, but I ended up using it just to print my full sheet. For these full sheets, I either cut out shapes that I want, or I'll cut out strips and use them as kind of pseudo washi tape, or yeah, it's usually just that. Big shapes or kind of washi tape strips. These are old things I did for Art Journaling the Magic. These have been pretty much used up. I liked those. I still have some way to go with some of these. These are from February, from Valentine's Day. But yeah, I mean, you can see how much like I've used all of these. There's only a few different days left. Also, not for nothing, but you can just grab your supplies and make lots of random scribbly mess over everything. And then just peel up random bits. And if you're doing lots of mixed media work, see, it's just so much harder to get it from the page. But if you're doing lots of random mixed media work, that doesn't look like much, but as a part of a whole spread with like color themes that are going on and just as a part of a layer somewhere, there's really no need to waste a lot of this. It even functions as a palette, right? You've got sorry, I'm looking for a water brush. You've got this non-stick back. You can use that as a pseudo watercolor palette. So I say that because there are a lot of people who think it's really wasteful to use the sticker paper. I think it is if you're going to let a lot of it go to waste, but I'm keeping a lot of it in here, and I do use it like this from time to time. especially with my like travel journaling or documenting type spreads where I have a lot of photos and I want to put captions on them, I'll cut off little chunks of white sticker paper to use. These are my Valentine's dates. I really liked this one. You can see I've taken big chunks out of that one. Oh, these aren't mine. These are from Art Journaling the Magic, but funnily enough, we get the same like big label sticker papers type stuff for some of those retreats. So I've put mine in here as well. And this also serves as really good random stuff to use in my work. This was from January. This is no longer available in the subscription, but it is going on to Etsy soon for as an individual set. I loved these eyes. I'd put these eyes on cats. You know, all of this stuff is not Collage Club. Some of this back here is. This was from Art Journaling the Magic as well. My little Disney girls. This is Collage Club. Love my Cruellas. I'm so excited to see the new movie. Can't wait. That was a misprint. I accidentally printed the cut lines. So if you want the cut lines, this is what they look like. Just as a file, like they're transparent. You can use them in your own software if you want to. Oh, and this. I actually have some other sticker papers from online labels. Like I bought one that's already pre-cut, stars, and I put my background through that as well. So I have lots of like just random stars that I can use. That is a tip. Every month, so far, I've given a big background page. This month it was this guy here. So every month I've given either numbers or some kind of planner thing, like it's days of the week or numbers, and I want to do months of the year as well. So every month I've done one of those. This is not set in stone either. It just happens to be a pattern that I've fallen into that kind of made sense to me, and it's been fun. I do a couple of pages of like random stuff that I think is just fun to play with and beautiful imagery, or stuff from my journals and sketchbooks, and then I do a big page. For the last couple of months I've done a bit of a theme though. Like last month I did a full page of Falling Alice's. This month obviously I did my full page of Supply Girls. So I don't know if I'm going for like at least one full page theming thing, but it seems to be a trend that's popping up. 2021 Collage Club trends. But yeah, I do like to give a full page just for some of those more random applications. Like you just need to cut a chunk, you need to fill a gap in your planner. A lot of, I've been filling these, where is it? I've been doing these photo spreads. This is on YouTube. But filling these columns, because these are parts of my planner that I don't use. Even my trip to Disneyland, I've been filling them with pictures. But if you've got planner spreads that have like lots of empty pages or lots of empty columns like this, it's also a great way to just cut a chunk of this out and smack it in there and it looks done. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to tell you what to do with it, but those are just some things that I like this full page for. Lots of gap filling, I guess. And yeah, those are new washi tapes that are coming, so yay for us. That is everything I have for Collage Club. Like I said before, January has rotated out. We will only be doing 4 months of sheets available at a time, so 4 sets at a time. No matter when you subscribe, there'll always be 4 sets there. So January is no longer a part of the subscription. It will go to Etsy. It is always the most affordable way to go about like kind of getting access to these pieces by going through Collage Club. Even if you want to subscribe for 1 month, get your 4 sets and then, you know, leave and wait another 4 months to come back. I'm really not fussed. I don't police any of that. It does not matter to me. This is something that I'm going to be doing anyways, and I just want you to have fun with it. I just want you to, you know, have lovely things to put in your journal. There also, there's a limited use license that I offer as a part of Collage Club as well. So if you're doing handmade items and you sell, you know, cards, or you have an Etsy store and you sell things, you have a limited use item for, I think I said, I actually, don't quote me, go and look at the page. It's either 50 or 100, but they're handmade items, non-commercial production, and also transformative works, so they can't be in their original state. But say you do a collage with some of these stationery girls, and you make a greeting card, and you want to make those, like hand produce those for your Etsy store. You have a limited use license to do that. You do not need to ask my permission. That is available to you so long as you are subscribed to Collage Club. Yeah, you have that license. So I do encourage people to get crafty with that as well. I'm so not a stickler for like, obviously I'm not encouraging people to like steal content and resell it. Like, that is not the point here. But for those people like me, like back in the day, that have always been confused about, you know, where people stand on, you know, pulling inspiration or using imagery in transformative works, I'm 100% behind transformative works. You obviously cannot just resell something in its original state, but if you use it in a collage and you want to produce a little, you know, set of postcards with your collage, and it just so happens to have one of my little bits in there, that is transformative work. Whether you believe in that copyright law or not, to me, I do believe in it because it just is what it is. It's transformative and derivative, and you have the right to be able to sell that. So I don't want to infringe on whatever your creative process wants you to do or where you're going. So I like to offer that license up front, just so you're really aware of where I stand on that and like what my desire for you is, and that is for you to enjoy it and to create with it and turn a buck off it if you would like to. But yeah, transformative, derivative, it can't be in its original state, not for mass production, so I wouldn't be sending that off to like a washi tape manufacturer or anything. It has to be handmade items, and I think there's a quantity limit of 50 to 100. But you know, I'd be flexible on that. If it's not 100, say it's 100. I'll change it one day. I think it's 50 or 100. Goodness, I should have checked. Anyway, so that's it. That's there for you as well. Not many people really ever take me up on that. I think a lot of people are using this just to, you know, bring a bit of color into their journaling and to, you know, enjoy having beautiful things to work with. Every month there's something different, and I think that keeps it fresh and exciting. Also, this is also, like I said before, one of the most affordable ways to access any of my paid content or products. And it is also a way for you to be able to support me if you are looking to do that. This is not what I made it for, but over the years I've had people ask kind of often, how do I support you if I just want to say thank you for like your video content, your tutorials, or thank you for Merry Mix Media, like how do I send you something? And I really don't prefer people to actually send me anything at all, and I don't expect anyone to do it. If I didn't want to do it, I wouldn't be doing it. So it is just enough that you have fun and that you enjoy it. But if you are someone that is looking for that, like, I think people use like coffee, or there used to be a thing called tip jar. Some people get support through Patreon and do like low pledge Patreon support. For me, I don't do any of that. I operate just as a regular business, but if you would like to, I'm calling this the way that you can support. If you would like to, like, please, no pressure at all. And like I said, come and go as you please. If you have $5 and you just want 4 months worth of collage fodder, it's there for you. It's no sweat off my back. It's not going to change any of my workload. I'll just be happy that you're enjoying it. And if you want to share it, this is my most favorite part, to be able, like, if you really want to give back, just share what you've made with it. I love to see it. So use the hashtag Jlb Collage Club, and I'll get to see everything pop up in my social media feeds. Anyway, I've talked my face off. This was supposed to be like 10 minutes, but how long has this been? It's been 42 minutes. This was a mess. But anyway, this was the first one. I had a lot of information to explain. I hope you found that informative. Hopefully next time I'll just be flipping through the sheets and showing you what I've done. Who knows, can't make any promises. Good to see you and be time with you. Wow, good to see you. Good to be with you this morning. I had a great time showing you through all of that. Until I see you next time, have fun with your Collage Club stuff, and everything will be linked in the description box below if I can link it. Okay, great. Goodbye.